Hello, everybody, and welcome to Hanging Out with Howie. Tonight, we have the band back together again. We have, from Lake Placid, New York, we have Eric, a.k.a. DJ Viva, in the crowd. And from Boston, we have a journeyman DJ, master of many different genres, DJ John C. And we have with us the man with the words and the legal jargon and the legal pools and the go-to guy for all things of that nature. That would be Bill from you're Connecticut again, right? Is it
Maryland?
Oh, Maryland. I'm sorry, yeah. Bill. Okay, DJ Bill Mars.
That's okay.
Yeah. And all the way across the pond, he made it after probably only 2 or 3 hours sleep. From Cyprus, we have DJ Alex in the room. Hello, Alex.
Hey, guys.
And last but not least, our very own in-house superstar graphics artist, and I know this to be a personal fact, a very, very rock star DJ, Jimmy Spin. Welcome, guys. So, hey, tonight's topic is, hey, all of a sudden everybody's working and it's summer. What are we going to do to protect ourselves, our clients, and our gear for outdoor events? You know, rain or shine, the show goes on. So we'll just go around the room and give us some of your tips and maybe techniques that you might use. John, we'll start with you.
Okay. Well, the couple of shows that were lined up that were going to be outdoor have moved back indoor. So we take away a little bit of the outdoor stigma. We don't have to worry about the vinyl covers over the speakers or pop-up tents for rain. For the concerns for inside, of course, you're hoping that everyone has the vaccinations, keep plenty of hand sanitizer for people that are touching microphones and that are in contact with surfaces. You want to show up showing that you're prepared for indoor or outdoor gigs for that matter, that you know what's going on, that you're in tune with the climate of everyone is germ conscious, you're using covers on your microphones and things to just give everyone that sense of well-being, the feeling like they're protected, that you're on top of it.
Yeah, very good. All right, we're going to go to Lake Placid. Eric, what do you got for us?
I was hoping I was going to go last on this one and see what everybody else had.
You want to go last? Hey, we can make that happen.
I got a few ideas here. So John, he kind of hit on, the obvious part about protecting ourselves, protecting the others. Last weekend, they had us show up, and then at the event, they had an actual rapid test site. So this is kind of working with maybe the coordinators. And so I'm going to use this graduation as an example. They had a rapid test site if you did not have your vaccination card with you. So get your vaccination card. Depending on what your persuasion is, you can either test a couple days ahead of time, or if you have your card, laminate it, keep it right with you. And so when you're working with those coordinators, I guess thinking that protect everybody, protect yourself. And then that testing site is kind of a cool idea. Something that I hadn't seen. I didn't realize that this could be a quick 10 to 20 minute accurate test. So, maybe that's a suggestion you can throw out to your clients. I don't know whether that's going to be something for weddings that'll happen, or ours was a graduation with 500 people there. So it was a little bit, bigger and larger, but, that's just a little quick tip that maybe we can use, forward going. It's not a bad idea for the future at all. I don't think really,
I agree.
Events, maybe we should have been doing a little bit more of this, beforehand. I know my wife, I call her the hand sanitizer Nazi, because when we go to a amusement park or restaurant, okay, hold out your hand. She's always done that kind of thing. And it's really not a bad idea, I don't think.
Yeah, so, I agree. I agree.
Round number one, I'll throw that little tidbit out there.
All righty. Okay, Bill, what do you got for us that's not like too wordy and legalese and I'm just teasing you.
From a COVID standpoint, everybody's already kind of touched on hand sanitizer and distancing and testing and so forth. With one of the things we feature is outdoor games, like yard games, and I have been keeping a little spray bottle of hand sanitizer at each outdoor game station, and that's been well received. Surprisingly, they haven't even been disappearing at the few times that I had to have them out. But in the in the mindset of protecting the guests, like John said too, with the microphones, I've been doing that since July, and that's one thing I'm going to keep doing forward. I'm going to continue to have a separate mic for toasting and speeches, and offer the client the option of including the oversized foam mic covers to just drop on and take off. Some will want them, some won't, but at least they see they have the option, and I'm fine with that. I sanitize the mics after I'm done, and so forth, so everything's all good there. Are we talking about equipment now, or are we talking about that later?
Yeah, we'll do another round after this. All right, up next, okay. Jimmy Spin.
Yeah.
How are you?
Mine's a little cumbersome. I actually bring about 1,500 UV lights with me to my event and just turn them on and kills everything. Just blink them about once every minute or two. Kills everything dead. Don't got to worry about none.
It's interesting you say that, because I just saw a new product out last week on the interwebs where you put your microphones underneath, and it has that wavelength of ultraviolet that's harmful to your eyes. That's why it's covered, but it will kill the germs on the microphones.
Oh,
so, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know how much
I believe one of our sponsors sells those.
Ben Stowe would be the guy. If anybody will have it, it would be Ben. I know that's what they use in laboratories and stuff. But it must be a small black light, like when you got to check your hand stamp, at the club or something. So all right, we're gonna go on to Alex right now in Cyprus. Alex.
Yeah. So we're talking about like health and hygiene kind of thing, or just general well-being?
No, that just seemed to be the theme that those guys came up with.
I was going to say
for the first round, but yeah, safety for you, for your guests, and your equipment. So
okay, well, safety for me is making sure that I always go to a gig with one of these, and that is to make sure that I have some of this stuff in it, and I keep myself well hydrated. I do around probably 95%, if not a bit more, of all my weddings each year are outside. Sometimes I'm setting up where it's around 90 or even 95 in the shade. So well-being means to keep hydrated. I'll put a sandwich in there and maybe a packet of crisps or a chocolate bar, so I can keep my sugar levels up as well. And that'll keep me going, for a good sort of 9-10 hours. Because when you're working throughout the day, you want to make sure that you're staying alert. You don't want to be sort of going into, not being able to concentrate either on the job or when you're setting up equipment, especially if you're going up and down ladders, setting up trussing or anything like that with lighting. So you want to stay alert, and that's one of the key elements. Because you never know, the venue may have a bar, but bar's not going to be open to give you water. You may the nearest local store would be like, you went past it 5 minutes ago before you got to the venue. So it's always good to have something like here that keeps you alert and make sure that you have good well-being, which obviously in turn will make sure that your guests are safe as well, because you're not going to make any mistakes that may put them in jeopardy later on in the evening, like not tying a bolt properly when putting up lighting or anything like that.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, then I'm going to go in a different direction. And since you guys covered the safety aspect for yourself and your guests, I'm going to go equipment. It's been a while, equipment's been sitting, but this I do because I do a lot of outdoor events as well. And with the humidity, you might as well be near a lake or an ocean like Alex. And what I do with all of my connectors for everything from XLR cables to computer cables to the mixer, whatever, is this product right here, Deoxit D5. Okay. What that does is it dissolves corrosion, and it also leaves a small film to prevent corrosion on the connector so that you have a good solid connection. You're not going to get static, or a few guys I've helped out this week where it's not working. Everybody's like, oh, just replace the cable. Well, if the inside, let's say it's a light and it's a socket, and you replace the cable, but the socket's corroded to the point where you still have that problem, this really works. There's a technique, and there's a lot of fine print on this bottle. Read it. It's called directions. It's a manual. I know. I'm the manual Nazi. Read the manual. It clearly says on here to spray the stuff, let it sit 3 minutes. Then I spray it off with this CRC contact cleaner, and that dries very quick. So that washes that corrosion away. Then you treat it again with the Deoxit D5 and let it sit for 3 minutes. And then you can use that, and it will protect your connections. So, it's stuff that's been sitting. I just went through all my stuff, and I did every one. All the connectors, and all of from the movers to the uplighting to everything. And it's served me well over time. The cans, you may think, oh, $10, it's a lot of money. Well, I've had this can for 6 years. So do the math, it's like, pennies on the dollar to, protect my gear. So, all right, we'll go another round. And
Howie, a quick question about that. Would that also be good for battery contacts?
Oh,
like
sure.
Not just even regular batteries, but like I'm thinking your lithium ion lights, that battery lights with a lithium battery that can be replaced.
Yes,
you probably want to put them on that too, right?
Yes, I would do that. The other thing too is when you see like any connectors that look silver, that's actually nickel. Mm-hmm. Because nickel is less likely to corrode. And I've seen people, fall for that. Ooh, we have gold plating on our connectors, buy our stuff. And it's like, what happens is you're going to get dissimilar metals will cause galvanic reaction. It's like a battery. It's going to start to corrode. Mm-hmm. So don't fall for the gold plated crap. Nickel to nickel, you don't have to really worry about it. You take care of it and do the maintenance. And as Ben so famously said, if you do not have a scheduled maintenance, your equipment will schedule the maintenance for you. So, and it's
that spray would have been handy to know last weekend, because last weekend I had that issue. I was like, give me another cable. And
mm-hmm.
then I just had to pop. And it finally, kind of wore down that little bit of film that was on it.
Exactly.
So,
yeah, that's another thing. I mean, if you don't have it, we've all done that where we'll twist like a 1/4-inch plug or something, and all of a sudden it works. You got corrosion in there, and it really, really does work. It really works. And honest to God, just everything is nickel. Stick with the nickel. Don't fall for the snake oil. Like we got the best cable because it's got gold in it. But okay, John.
Sure. For protecting your gear, I guess we could also take it along on maintenance, safety. A lot of us haven't had our stuff out in a while, so it's a good time to go back and look at things we haven't seen in a year. Take a look at those tripod legs and see if there's a crimp in the metal, a potential problem, and run your hand down the length of your electrical cords and look for cracks and splits. Most of my stuff's new, but maintenance-wise, at the end of the gig, the last thing we're thinking is checking everything as thoroughly as we really want to. It all just gets rolled up and shoved in a bag to be sorted later. So before we take it back out on the road, it's a good time to go over the gear that you haven't used, or even things that you've noticed problems. We were talking earlier in the week about one of my Pocket Pros is starting to make a little squeaky squeak on the gears. So this is the time to get in there and hit it with a little petroleum and get all that stuff so it's all fine-tuned, ready to get back out on the road.
Well, now, Eric, you do a lot of outdoor events. I mean, you were clever enough last year to survive by doing the outdoor movie things with the big screen. So. Yeah,
it was kind of fun because we're a year away, and what started it was Back to the Future. This weekend, we're doing Back to the Future Part 2. So,
oh, wow.
You know what I mean? It's kind of like, we're Marty, we got to go back. That was my theme for this weekend. So, we do a lot of outdoor stuff. And I'll tell you, 2 weekends ago, we ran into a situation where I would have to do a mic test, and we were doing an outside graduation. And I usually don't do this, but I touched my lips to the screen, to the grill, and I got a little bit of a shock. So I traced back and I found out that one of our plugs, that I think it was the one to the mixer that was sending the phantom power, was giving it it was ungrounded, right? So one thing that I tell people, and I tell my guys, if you break off that ground, I'm going to break off your pinky because you've got to be safe. You've got to be prepared for any kind of ungrounded situation, and it's not safe. So I'm going to share the screen with you guys real quick. So instead of taking that 3-to-2 prong adapter to go into the outlet and lifting your ground, instead of breaking it off the end of the power cord, use this guy right here. Now let's see. We can share this here. Share screen. I want to go to this guy here.
Humbucker.
So this guy, can you guys see that there?
Yes.
Okay, so the IL-19 is what's going to eliminate your inline ground hum that you're going to get, right? You get that 60 cycle hum, that looping. This guy right here will eliminate that without having to break off the end off a cable. And this will save your butt more times than you can count. It's a little expensive, $50. I brought up Amazon because everybody uses it. You can use your favorite store, whether it be NLFX or Canal Sound and Light in New York City, whoever it is. These guys will all have those in stock for you. And that is something that, for me, there's safety right there. Don't break the ends off your cords, off your extension cables or anything, please.
Yes. As a licensed electrician, I can tell you that is the number one rule is to never, ever do that. And there is a proper way to use those plugs. If you've noticed on those, those ground lifts, they have a little ring at the bottom. You know what that's for? You take the screw out of the plate, you put that through there, screw it in, and then put your tester in, see if you have a ground. If you don't have a ground, I won't use that outlet. So, and also another thing that you mentioned with the hum eliminators, what that is they're using induction because there's 2 coils. So you're coming in and then out, and there's actually 2 coils. So there's no physical contact, and that's how you're able to get rid of that shock. I use them a lot, and I recommend them to, people that run into that, especially, outdoor events. I mean, even if it's not raining, humidity can wreak havoc with your stuff for sure. So
these little guys, I mean, they go right in line, and it's boom. There are a lot of different hum eliminators out there, but this is something that's quick and keep it right in your toolkit, your fishing box, your tackle box.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's cheap insurance, $50. That's not bad. So, Bill, what do you got for us?
For outdoor stuff, a few things I've always done. If the event's not going to have a tent, I have my own 10x10 tent from Easy Up. Got it from BJ's, under $200. They're great deals. But another thing I do to protect from heat, moisture, all sorts of stuff, different variants that can be an issue. I have one of those high velocity fans that can sit on the ground, not real loud, but it can push a lot of air. I keep it on the ground under my system and essentially angled up. It serves a couple purposes. One is by moving the air, it prevents moisture from gathering, especially like if you're doing a nighttime event, you go from warm to cool. You're not going to get dew on your equipment. It obviously is going to keep things a little cooler. Another thing it also does is because it's high velocity air, you're not going to be standing in a cloud of mosquitoes. And so that's a nice little feature.
Good idea. Now,
yeah. And another thing that I will do, that again, for not just mosquitoes, but for light, is now that we have lights with amber, I'll keep a couple of my battery uplights with me and have them on amber in the tent. And I can see, but also the amber color, keeps bugs away too.
Yeah.
On the subject of uplights, one other thing, just for equipment as a whole, not just for indoor-outdoor events. Now that we are getting busy again, I would strongly recommend anybody that has rechargeable lights that they take their lights out, they turn them all on, and let them cycle down to dead. Then recharge them, and don't just stop there. Do it one more time, because you'll then see, are my lights lasting the time period they should be? Or are they only lasting a couple hours because the batteries are fried?
Right.
So
right. All right. Now, Jimmy, I purposely did not say the thing that we had talked about off camera. So I'm going to let you have this one with the outdoor event. You got extension cords running on the ground, and you use what?
GFCI.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Very inexpensive, anywhere from $30 to $40 at your big box home or your local, hardware dealer. Save a life.
You can save a life. I'm very proud of you that you said GFCI instead of GFI. Because it is a ground fault circuit interrupter. So many people abbreviate it. It is a GFCI. So I'm very proud of you, Jimmy. For a graphics guy, you're electric. You're not bad.
You're talking about the little yellow ones, right? It's got the
Yeah, they're just a short stubby, in between. From because I wouldn't trust somebody's house. I don't know what's going on inside. I plug in and then. I don't know that little unit there. Yeah, you plug in that GFCI, and then if something happens, nobody dies. The worst thing that happens is you have dead air.
Right.
Get stupid with water balloons. They get anything can happen.
Exactly. You could be by a pool and you get splashed. That's happened.
And then, even if the grass just gets wet.
Yeah.
Say somebody forgot to turn the sprinkler off.
Right.
All of a sudden, they pop up and start sprinkling, and the lawn gets wet. People are barefooted, and the electricity's sitting right in it.
Yeah. Well, speaking of water, Alex, you do a majority of your events either on a dock or even on the beach. What have you got for us?
In fact, the event I had today was literally about 40 feet from the Mediterranean, from the actual sea.
Wow.
So as you can imagine, humidity is not my best friend, and is often the case being so close to water. So with my fight against humidity is, for example, if you're using, not necessarily if you're using DMX, but it does help if you're using DMX. If you're using lights, you can have them moving heads, for example, pointing up to the sky, but running on a color, making sure that the lights are heating up. So if the lights are heating up, you're going to have less chance of humidity building up inside, because obviously everything's nice and warm. You've got the fans going, so therefore you're not going to have humidity. If you haven't got that, this is something that, just to screen share for you guys, this is something that I have as well in my arsenal. This is an example, and these are little covers that go over moving heads. So that just stops any any light moisture, any humidity that might be building up on trees or anything like that. That droplets of water may be dropping down. So it just gives a little bit of extra protection there. Sorry, against humidity.
Very good. From your
that's
awesome.
Point of view, if you can get underneath a gazebo or something like that, because then obviously that then protects if you're using amps or obviously your laptop controller and your main gear around you as well.
Okay, thank you very much. That was, there's little gold nuggets there, but the, preheating the equipment to prevent the moisture, especially like what Bill mentioned earlier, when you're going from, day into night where the dew could happen. If your stuff is preheated, yeah, excellent point. All right, now mine, I'm going to do a screen share myself here. And this is an event that I did. And let's see if we get this up. Okay, here we go. This event here was raining when I got there, and the client was just beside herself because they got there early and tried to plug in, crock pots and so forth. And all of the covers were broken off. And she was like, oh my gosh, we're not going to have a party. And I kind of saved a day, and watch this right here. You see they have a padlock on the breaker panel. So what I did was I said, don't worry about it. I said, you can use the grill, just, charcoal, heat up the stuff. You got your burgers. I said, but what about the music? I said, I have a battery powered system, so don't even worry about it. And as you can see, it was open. There's no sides to it. So I had my pop-up. I bought a white pop-up I've had for 8 years now. A real high quality one, and it has white sides. So here I was at the edge when the rain was blowing in, it would have blown in all over my mixer and computer and everything. I had the pop up, and I had one of the walls there that kept that rain from getting into my gear, even though it was battery powered. I wanted the show to go on, but I also wanted to go home with good gear. So. All right, guys, I think that's going to do it. I really, really appreciate that. Alex, I especially appreciate you getting up after just a few hours sleep from gigging last night. For those of you that don't know, he's in Cyprus. That means it's 5 in the morning over there now or something like that?
It's 5:30 in the morning, and I got in at 4 o'clock.
Did you sleep at all?
Alrighty. Hey, thank you all, the A-team from the showroom, everybody that is watching right now. When we sign off here, feel free to turn your cameras on. If you have any questions, you just want to hang out, and say hello, you're welcome to it. You're always welcome in here. And we have been known to be here until 5 in the morning sometimes, just exchanging ideas. So good night until next week. Thank you all, and have a good night.
Thanks, Howie.